You said this decision, meaning 31 December 2024, was informed by an assessment that the task team no longer significantly contributed to policing efforts. What assessment were you referring to here? Because as we know, you've said there was no review or analysis of the task team. So what assessment are you referring to here?
This letter, I think, must be read in conjunction with the minister's comment on that meeting of the 31st, on the 1st of November, considering the fact that this letter that we are talking about comes from the Office of the National Commissioner, as directed by the National Commissioner, to assist me to craft this thing. So this letter. So even though I signed this letter, I think there is a general agreement and understanding that this letter was signed by the Office of the, comes from the Office of the National Commissioner. So commissioners to be really bound on to certain words and say, what were you meaning? What were you referring to on this document that was prepared by the Office of the National Commissioner? And then saying that I can sign it because it's directed to DIFCOM intelligence. I will respond and I will attempt to respond, but to be fair, this letter, from the very onset, it is known that I am not the author of this letter.
So, again, we have a signature by you on a document that's a lengthy document, but you disavow the authorship of this, the ownership of this letter.
It's
Did you comment on that?
It's not a difficult question that you are asking. I'm just worried that we all agree that it comes from the Office of the National Commissioner, well, and that it can be signed by me. And when I read it and I went through the contents, to me, it was a plan on how to go about in disbanding. I signed it.
I'm not. That doesn't sound. It doesn't sound like a full and candid response, General, because what you've said. First of all, let me just say, this letter is not a letter that's prepared like an information note is prepared, and you see who the author is of the note, and then you have a signature that recommends, you endorse it, in other words, a letter that's, a document that's prepared by someone else. It usually then says it's prepared by somebody else. That's the first thing. Right? You agree, this is not that kind of letter. It's not an information note kind of letter where it says it's been prepared by someone else. Right?
It is that kind of a letter that it is prepared by someone, because it was sent to my office from the Office of the National Commissioner.
Well, no. It was a draft that you had prepared together with General Rabi. General Rabi was assisting you. That was what you testified to yesterday, and that's what's in your statement, that General Rabi was tasked to assist you to prepare this, and you explained why it would be involve General Rabi because of the nature of the letter, etc., and that's completely acceptable. There's no problem with that. But you have to satisfy yourself that you are happy with the instructions that you are giving, because this instruction doesn't come from General Rabi or from the Office of the National Commissioner. It comes from you. It's not on the National Commissioner's letterhead. It's not on, it doesn't have his signature, only yours.
It goes out, simply put, it goes out as your letter, General.
It's true, Chair.
Signature at the end is yours. You are not recommending to anybody. You are signing a letter that's yours. And even at the top under inquiries, it's Lieutenant General Sibiya. It's your letter.
That's correct, Chair.
Yeah. Yes, Ms. Hassan.
Thank you. So can I go back to now the contents of this letter and ask you questions about it, because it's your letter?
Yes.
Okay. So the first question I had was, what was the assessment in paragraph 2? What was the assessment that was done that concluded that the task team no longer significantly contributed to policing efforts?
That is a question that is based on the. Can we go to the letter that itself that was written by the minister, because I think the words originates from that letter itself.
Okay. So you're saying that this is a reference to the minister's assessment?
I think so. So we need to get to that letter. SS.
Page 198, same file. General, did you find it?
I found it.
That's on 197.
Yes, I found it, Chair. Commissioners. I need to get the one that is written in, because this one is very small font, very small. Either I can see it here or a document, the real document, because this one is, you can't read.
Do we have another version of it?
Yeah. Blow it up a little bit more, please.
Is that
General,
legible?
do you want to look there?
Yes, I can. Yes.
And, you may then indicate whether to scroll up or down. Yeah.
Can I, let's go to the first sentence. Trust this course. Injustices in the first few months towards the end of the year. I have made observations on a number of important aspects on the subs and policing. For purpose of this letter, I'm focusing on the 3 aspects that require very urgent attention to address some of the challenges at hand. Now, as far as I'm concerned, Chair and Commissioners, to say I trust this correspondence find you well in this festive season. In the past few months, towards the end of this year, 2024, I have made observations on a number of important aspects on the subs and policing. For the purpose of this letter, I'm focusing on 3 aspects that require very urgent attention. Now, we can go to the one of the political killing, number 3. All right. Management Executive Committee meeting later in January 2025. Key reference points to include, but not limited to, the following: a comprehensive analysis of the current challenges of scrutiny. No, this is the port of entry.
Yeah.
It's point 3.
Point 3.
Can you?
I want the one that speaks to political killing.
Point 3.
Yes. In 2019, a directive was made to the National Commissioner of Police following the Moerano Commission report. Even though not flowing directly from such, that an interministerial task force be established, the key mandate was, I don't know whether it's stop. What?
Can I suggest that you go to the next page? It's clearer on the next page. that one, yes.
In 2019, a directive was made to the National Commission of Police following the Moerano Commission report, even though not flowing directly from such that an interministerial task force be established. The key mandate was to stop, investigate, resolve unresolved matters of politicians in the country, especially in KwaZulu-Natal. My observation in this regard, as indicated above, is that further existence of this team is no longer required, nor is it adding any value to policing in South Africa. I therefore direct that the political killing task team be disestablished immediately. Further, that a preliminary report in this regard be submitted to the Minister by the 20th of January 2025. The final and closing report must be submitted to the Ministry Management Executive Committee meeting late January 2025, the date of which will be communicated as soon as possible. So this paragraph, to me, responds directly to the question asked by the evidence leader, I think.
Okay, you say that the assessment that the task team no longer, what you mean is the observation by the minister.
This is the minister saying, this is the observation that the minister made.
Okay. No, that's fine. That's clear. What he had said in his letter was it was an observation. In this letter, you detail steps that need to be taken in order to...
Just to go back to the letter...
S13, it starts in 205.
SS13, all right. You need a big one.
Do you have it, General?
Yeah, I'm back to the same problem, but it's okay. I'll try to hold on.
Well, what's the problem? Perhaps we can assist.
No, because the document that is in front of me...
No, you're looking at the wrong page. It's page 205.
Oh, I'm okay. Thank you very much.
This is the letter that we began with.
Yes.
Right. We've now dealt with your answer to the question that I asked pertaining to paragraph 2. Okay. And this letter is a detailed set of instructions for compliance with the minister's directive. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And I just want to ask you some questions based on this. In paragraph 3.4, on page 206, you say all case dockets must be hand-delivered to a location designated by the Divisional Commissioner for Detective and Forensic Services, who must establish a secure repository for case files and evidence to ensure continuity and prevent any loss or tampering. These dockets will then be reallocated to appropriate investigative units with the capacity to continue the investigations. So this was a requirement that the dockets be delivered to the Divisional Commissioner, Detective and Forensic Services. Is that what one should understand by it? Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. And where would that be? In head office?
No.
Where is the Divisional Commissioner for Detective and Forensic Services?
I think I said at the place determined by the Divisional Commissioner.
So it could be any place in the country?
It could be any place between in KZ and where the dockets are.
So it would be removed and be taken to a location where there would be a secure repository?
Yes.
Okay. And you say you didn't mean that it should go to the DivCom, Detective and Forensic Services, at head office.
No, I said it must go to her.
Yes, but not physically delivered
I never
to head
dictated
office.
a place where.
Okay. And then you asked for, if we can
But it could have been head office as well.
It could have been head office as well.
Thank you.
And then in paragraph 4, you ask for a comprehensive closing report to be submitted by 16 January, confirming compliance with the aforementioned directives. Now, I think this has come up before. This letter is dated 17 January, but you ask for the report to be delivered the day before. Do you want to comment on that?
I think at a much earlier station, I did indicate that at some point, because it looked like I gave them a day or two, because it was signed on the 17th, and then here the date was the 16th. In other words, it came, I don't know what caused the confusion in between when I received this and when I signed this, but I accept the typo or the error that exists here because I said on the 16th, but I signed on the 17th. So, quite honestly speaking, I'm lifting my hands high up in the air on this one.
Okay. Then you ask, then you detail what the report should look like, how the report should be structured. And in 4.1, you say it should, let's just start from before. The report should be structured according to the following guidelines. 4.1, executive summary. In the second bullet, you say summary of key considerations that resulted in the decision to disband the task team. Now, this letter is addressed to the head of the task team, who did not support the disbandment of the task team. How would he have been able to prepare a report? And I've got a few questions on this, but my first is, how would you expect him to prepare a report that explains the considerations that underlined the decision, that were informed the decision of the minister? How would he know?
Earlier, I indicated that he never really indicated that he does not support at all. Even the National Commissioner never indicated that he's not in support. So he never indicated that he does not support.
You're saying General Khumalo never indicated that he did not support the disbandment of the task team that he was the leader of?
Yes, he never.
Sorry, General Sibiya, when you drafted this letter, you could not have known that because you had not engaged with General Khumalo at this point. So when you drafted this letter, how did you expect him to comply with the second bullet in 4.1? Accepting that in March, when you did engage with him, he didn't express a disagreement. You signing this letter on the 17th of January, and you have not spoken to him at all about the PKTT.
That is correct.
So how did you expect him to comply with bullet 2 when you signed this letter? That's really the question.
Chair, because when I write this letter, I write it as positive as possible, knowing that this is an official document with the Minister and the National Commissioner's blessing. So I write it to him. And then if he himself was not in agreement, he would have responded to this letter, also in writing, and say, I see you wrote this letter to me, but I'm not in agreement. But instead, we don't have that. So he never indicated that he's not in agreement.
Had you had a discussion with General Khumalo about the decision between 31 December and sending this? Did you have a discussion with him, informally or formally, or pick up the phone, anything to say, this is a decision that needs to be implemented?
I did respond earlier that I never had a discussion with him, and considering the fact that it was also around about the festive period when everyone was still at home and some had not come back yet at work, and some of us were all over the country because it's still within the festive period.
Okay, so you don't really know what his state of mind was regarding the decision?
I didn't know.